This is Brother
Shalom,
Asa.
King.
This is Brother Asa with the Iron Horn of Zion, and I'm joined by my excellent elder. I'm gonna let you go on and introduce yourself.
Hey, Shalom, family. This is your ball, and we're just coming to you with another episode of family discussion. Our brother Mathanya is on too. He's in the background taking care of little stuff for us, and he'll be on. We're going to have a couple more brothers on, hopefully. And today's lesson going to be a little bit different than before. We told you we had a treat for you today, and we just want to sit down and talk to you. You can also post if you have some questions, you can post them in the chat. We'll try to deal with those a little bit today. And we just want to let y'all know that life happens and life happens to us as well. And you have to keep picking up and keep moving on. All right. You want to say something real quick, Mathanya? Asa?
King, yeah. Shoot, this is just to let you all know that we are real, everyday people who go through everyday things, through the trials and tribulations that come with this thing called life. So today we'll be sharing some of our experiences. You also have different years of experience here. And apologies for my camera going out, but yeah, it's brothers here who have been through several different things that can speak from different aspects of this thing called life, and hopefully you all can get some edification and something to help build you up in your life.
Con. So, just I'm going to kind of kick it off and just let you know I'm 57 years old. I'm married. I have 5 children, 3 grandchildren. And I'm going to tell you, it's a wonderful life, but it doesn't come without heartache and turmoil. Throughout life, you're going to have things that come up against you. There are going to be sicknesses. There's going to be death. Let me hold on right quick. Mathanya, go ahead and jump in real quick, King, and then we'll get back on.
Shalom. How everybody doing? We appreciate y'all hanging out and joining us this Sunday. All praises to the Most High. Um, yeah, sorry about my tardiness. I was having some technical difficulties, but yeah. You know what I'm saying? I yield.
All right. Con. I want to thank both of these brothers. They on every week in, week out. They're bringing great precepts, great thoughts to the discussion. And to let y'all know, I don't even let them know what I'm discussing beforehand. These brothers, that's how sharp they are on the sword. And that's where you have to get. If you're going to be a man that's going to have a family, you're going to have to be able to answer questions according to the word of God. So you got to put it in your heart. You got to eat the scroll, is what Isaiah says, okay? So I was telling you, you're going to have things that come up against you in life, but you're also going to have good moments, and you have to ponder and on the good moments more than you do the tragic moments. And just going to tell you a little something real quick. So my grandfather on my father's side died about 3 years ago, 105 years old when he died. He was a farmer, and he built houses. Now, before he passed away, because he is a farmer, he did own land. He divided all his land amongst his children. He didn't wait till he passed away and then have them fighting over it. So he actually went down to the courthouse. He got his survey ran off, and everyone knew what they were getting. He also took money and he divided amongst them while he was living. Now he still had his income coming in. He didn't give away all his money, but that part that he had put aside for them, notice I said put aside for them, he went on and distributed it. He put it in the account and say, when I die, he put all the children's name on the account. This goes, yo. And what I'm telling you is you have to plan ahead of time. Uh, a tragedy isn't a tragedy if you've already prepared for tragic moments. We told you before that you need to have an emergency fund, and how if you take your car to the shop, they're going to say $1,500. That's usually what they're going to throw out at you. It's not bad if you got $1,500 saved. That being said, what I want to tell you is I want you, when you're riding down the street today or tomorrow, I want you to notice on the side of the road, if you live in the South, for the city workers, you're going to see our people. We are very highly represented. That's good. But I'm going to tell you a place that we're not represented well. If you go to the fire department, in a black city, and you'll have more white guys on the fire department than us. And I used to work for the fire department. I'm telling you, it's not all that they're not hiring us. We don't know to apply them.
Mm,
I tell you, it's a good job. When I worked there, we worked one day, 24 hours straight, and we'd be off 2 days, 48 straight. You get a pension, you get medical, and you get a pretty good salary. And the thing about it is, once you get that on your resume, you're well respected when you go apply someplace else. They look for firemen. They look for military people. They look for police officers. When you go someplace else, they automatically think that you have some integrity because this place has vetted you and they kept you on. And so I just want to put that out there. Go down to your local government center and see what jobs are available. Don't automatically think you won't be hired because you're black. No, they got to put us on there because they're dealing with blacks. The mayor is running for office. He's got to have some black people working for the city, or he knows he's not going to get any black vote. You see what I'm saying?
right.
City manager is appointed, but he wants to keep that job. So he's got to have those councilmen that's going to support him. So he's got to have blacks on. So take advantage of all that. One of you brothers want to step in real quick?
Con. So yeah, and just to speak to the elder's point here too, there isn't anything wrong with you going to get you a trade. Um, During my generation coming up, we were always taught that if you want to make it good in this world, go to college.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, no one really taught us what to major in. So we were just
Good point.
going there and just choosing any type of degree that had sounded fun or had sounded good without realizing that you were still going to be struggling finding work. So I would recommend to anyone at that 16, 17, 18-year-old range who is considering what they want to do with their life, take a look into trade work because it's a dying skill that is definitely needed. It's a certain genre of work that can't be done by a AI service. Like this is going to take someone's hands, and if you have those hands that are capable, you can pretty much charge what you want. Um, if I could have done that time frame over in my life, I definitely would have gotten me a trade first. And they don't take you but a year to two or 3 years to actually get. So you would spend less time going to school. You would spend less on money on student loans and the housing and all the other things that come with going to a 4 year institution,
Right.
and you would be able to start making money much sooner than you would. And if I were to speak to my personal life, growing up, I really didn't have any examples of what to do as far as a career goes. Everyone that I knew and everyone that I seen that I saw as a quote unquote positive male influence or even female too, they just had jobs. They would just pick a job and stay there 10, 20, 30 years and then they're done. So when I was graduating high school, I thought, well, I see that I'm doing well when it comes to the schoolwork. I got a good GPA. I'm gonna go to school. So I ended up going to one of the top schools in the state, and I majored in on business marketing there. And when I graduated school, I didn't have any job lined up.
Right.
I was putting in applications over and over and over. I was going to interviews over and over and over. I was even to the point where I was showing up to big businesses with a suit and a resume in my hand, trying to get it to anybody because no one taught me what it took to go and get a job or anything. Like I was just blind to it all. So I would recommend that if you do choose to go for that college route, make sure that you choose uh the degree path that is in the demand always. That would be your medical work, your engineering, your law, your architecture. But if you want to do on something like art or anything like that, yeah, it's cool to have that quote unquote self expression, but with that self expression, fill your bank. So just keep these things in mind as we continue to go through this talk, and brothers add on words of wisdom to help you navigate through this life. Because if we don't have on help, we are lost. Are you?
Hey, before we go any further, I want to hit a verse real quick. Sirach 7:15.
I got
Kind
you.
of go along with what Smooth just brought out.
Con,
And we don't have to put it up on the screen. We're just gonna read it real quick.
Con,
con,
And Smooth, I want you to go ahead and explain this one. You brought it out before.
con,
con. This is the
I'm
book.
sorry, I'm saying Smooth, brother Asa, so y'all know who I'm talking to. Go ahead, Key.
Con. This is the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 7 and verse 15. Hate not laborious work,
hmm
neither husbandry, which the Most High hath ordained.
So you should not hate that hard work. You should not hate to labor with your hands. You shouldn't hate doing things that are necessary to getting a job done. Shoot, everyone isn't going to be able to sit at a screen every day, and
Right,
you may be placed in that situation where you want to live a certain life style. If you don't have a certain level of quote unquote education, you're not going to get those on funds. But when you do that laborious work that no one wants to do, shoot, hey, you can charge what you want, and
that's
you
right.
can create your own schedule. You can do anything with that because you are putting in work that may not seem cool to anyone else.
Right,
Shoot,
right,
it's a lot of folks that don't want to plunge out toilets all day or deal with wiring or any of that. But these are those on jobs that are always needed. And it says that you shouldn't hate it because this is what the Lord has ordained from the beginning. We see Adam being given the task that shoot, you got to get it by the sweat of your brow.
that's
That's
right.
right.
So if you ain't working hard, shoot, you lost. I want to throw in one there too. Let me get wisdom of Solomon chapter 3 and verse 15.
Con. Give everybody a second to get there real quick. All right, this is the book of wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 15.
Con.
Con. For glorious is the fruit of good labors, and the root of wisdom shall never fall away.
So the thing that you gain from your hard work will always be good because you can honestly say that you earned it. And through that hard work, you are gaining what? Wisdom. You are learning how to tackle things that you never seen. You are learning how to how to fix a problem that is never came up. So this is a glorious thing because you are gaining skill and you're gaining funds for the work that you did. I yield.
Uh,
Good.
uh,
Good. If I could,
okay.
man, you described my life, Smooth. You know what I'm saying? Went to college, changed my major about 3, 4 times because I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaving the nest. You know what I'm saying? And um, we're just what was pushed on me is be a doctor, engineer,
Hmm.
a lawyer, but none of that stuff made me happy. Like
Right.
I don't want to be any of that. But that's what I was into when I went to college, and I kind of changed my major, just kind of getting personal with everybody. But yeah, man, a trade is truly where it's at. If I could go back and do it all over, that's what I would do. Um,
Con.
because you working for yourself. You know,
Right.
Mhm.
that's really what was it. Entrepreneurship wasn't really a thing like that as far as my surroundings or whatever. It wasn't a thing that was kind of, yeah, you can go on your business. Nobody was talking about that. So let me get, if I could, can I get First Timothy chapter 5 and verse 8, the classic?
Uh,
Um,
Let me read you one. Let me read to you. I ain't read in a while. I'm gonna get there real quick. You brother getting all the reading in. I'm getting there.
uh, the classic, man.
All right. First Timothy 5 and 8.
Yes, sir.
All right. The book of First Timothy, chapter 5 and verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith, and is worse than an infidel.
It's worse than an infidel, man. How you gonna be able to take care of the church and you ain't even handling business for your family, man?
uh,
You know, you gotta, like the brother was bringing out. You can't hate laborious work.
Right.
You can't hate that you gotta go out there and get it.
mhm.
The scripture say in Micah 2 and 10, this is not our risk. This is not the time to be laid up living off your woman playing video games all day.
That's right.
Right.
No, we gotta go out here and get it. You know what I'm saying? We gonna have, Lord willing, we gonna have servants to go out there and get it for us in the kingdom, but that ain't the time we living in.
Right.
Right.
Shoot, we gotta go out here and make it happen by all means. You
Right.
know,
Right.
but yeah, I yield, man. This is a good discussion. Also, brothers, if y'all want to join, the link is in the chat. You can come in here and get your input on your situation. We're talking to Iron Horn of Zion, of course, man. The link is in the chat. We would love for y'all to join us.
Right. So look, now we've been this is episode number 7 for family discussion. And one thing about it is I have a heart towards our people. A lot of the situations that I'm talking about, I've been in. So when we start talking about child support and stuff like that, which we are getting into, and I know y'all probably feel we're not, but we are, because when we start talking about working, staying with your wife, marrying, not just jump from bed to bed, we're trying to teach you how to not get into a child support situation. Now, like many of y'all, I had children before I was married. And so I was in that situation. And like these brothers, I went off to college. I was told, go to college, get you a good job. I didn't like it. I quit and went into the military. And the military actually gave me more benefit, I felt, than college did. instead of 4 years of debt, because I was in debt for that first year that I went. Instead of being in debt for 4 years, I started making money.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got out, through my dad, he helped me get on at a plant that he was a manager at. And from there, I went to the fire department. Well, long story short, I ended up being a computer programmer, and it was just God put me in the right place at the right time. This bank I was working for, I was a supervisor for the customer service department. They had what they called an aptitude test. So I went and took this aptitude test. They said you can be a computer programmer. So they put me in that field. And then I moved from home, went up to Atlanta. I was making real good money, but I had something behind that was hanging over my head. This child support thing. The more you make, the more you're gonna pay.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did not want to do was ever have my family struggling or be in a situation where I couldn't go see my children. So I said, you know what? I need to make some extra money. So then I did not go get a second job. I actually started cutting grass. I enjoyed that much more than I did sitting at a desk programming all day. And I ended up making more money cutting grass than I did as a programmer. People find it hard to believe when I tell them that. But the deal was when I started off, my idea was I'm going to make $60 an hour. Now I'm a lot older than y'all, so it's real good money. $60 an hour is cutting grass. And so I did that and better because what I ended up doing, I had so much business that I ended up outsourcing to 4 other lawn services. So I was in the city outside of the Atlanta area. I was in south of Atlanta in their suburbs and cities around me. I would send other lawn services out to do them. I wouldn't do anything further than 15 miles from my house. So what I'm telling you is the opportunity is there. And we're going to talk about some of that as we get into child support. On you're going to pay that money. Now you get to determine what your lifestyle is going to be like when you're paying it. If you go work another job, they're going to take them taxes out. If you got your own business, you're going to be able to invest in your business and pay taxes on what remains. And so that's where a lot of the difference comes in. And so you got to have a plan, though. You can't just go out there doing anything. You're going to do something, some kind of get rich quick scheme. Those things don't work long term. You want something that you can grow into. And right now, I'm self employed. And right now, if you ever go to construction sites and stuff like that, you see dumpsters out. I have some similar to that, and I rent dumpsters out. That's what I do. That's my full time business. It allows me to take care of my family the way I want to, allows me to live the way I want to, but I still have that trade. I can go back and program anytime I want to. See, I'm in those legacy systems back when they were doing COBOL and assembler. They don't have many of those programmers left. They're paying top dollar for them right now. I just don't want to do it. I like being outside. I like gardening. I like cutting grass. I like all that stuff. I like fishing. That's just me. And so when I'm inside a building, I'm not myself. I don't feel as good. Okay. So I'm saying don't be scared of that laborious work. Don't be scared to not have a dream to be a senator or a doctor or a lawyer. That's not for everybody. People are going to try and put you in that mold. But take that thing that you love to do and figure out how to make money doing it. And then it won't seem like work. And you're going to put so much time in it. My wife would have to remind me when I had people working for me, she said, that's your business. They don't want to be there all the time like you do. That would ring through my head. And so I started telling guys, we do this much, this many yards. And when we get finished with that, you can go home. I don't care if it's noon time. And I had to get that into my head. These guys, they don't want to do what I do. This is not their business. This is their job. You see what I'm saying? And so you have to kind of weigh all that out. But I yield. We just had another brother join us, Makazawa. How's it going, King?
Hey, Shalom family, Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. So y'all never seen this brother before on this lesson, but you've seen him on Wednesday nights. If y'all not tuning into our Wednesday night classes, you're missing a treat. Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern. What would that be? 7:30 Central. The brothers they be going in. Y'all need to get on that class and learn, okay? But Makazawa's on there quite a bit. And go ahead and talk to us a little bit, King.
Yeah, Shalom everybody. Yeah, this is a very needed lesson. My situation, similar to your mom. I'm probably like Mathanya. I went to the military, and it was very beneficial to me because it gave me a trade. I was kind of like an electronic technician.
Hmm.
So I learned how to use a meter, you know, how to fix things electronically. Dealt with a little bit with electricity as well. So I did that first, and that gave me benefits to go to school. I was able to go to school for free, so I used that to go get my HVAC certification. So I went and did that. So I got that. I do a little work on the side, working on ACs. I don't do a lot of that, mainly with close family and friends, but I have that skill and that trade that if I ever needed to go make some money, that's a very lucrative business. But the main thing that I like that brother was bringing out was you got to find something that you enjoy doing. So what happened with me, um, when I was in the world, every Saturday, which is the Sabbath, because I don't do this anymore, I would tailgate, set up tents, tables, chairs, barbecuing, um, had TVs outside, projectors for night games, um, eloquent setups. And people started asking me, hey, can you come do that at my house for my son's birthday or for the Auburn, Alabama game? And I realized I was really good at it, and I turned it into a business. Um, so I rent tents, tables, chairs, audio, video. I go set it up at people's house. Actually, that's why I'm late to the lesson right now. I just got through dropping off some tables and chairs, so I was running behind. But I just delivered some tables and chairs. It took me less than 10 minutes to get it off my truck. It took me longer to drive over there, and I made me a little money this morning before the day even got started.
Making money while you're sitting here, right, King?
Yeah, right.
Making money while you're in this class.
Yeah, so you gotta find something that you enjoy doing. I enjoy entertaining, and turned out I was really good at that. So I go do those setups for other people, and I'll yield on that for now.
Con. Don't go nowhere, King. Hang in there with us
All
if you
right, I ain't
can.
going nowhere.
All right, all right. Mathanya.
Kind of one.
Now, when I met this brother, both of these, when I say brothers, these brothers are blood brothers. But when I met this brother here, um, we had joined the camp. I think I joined like a year before he did. He came in. I went to his older brother's house, who just taught Makazawa. Then I've been to this brother's house. And notice I said their house. They're not renting. And how old are you, Mathanya?
30, 31. Yeah, 31.
31. So what I'm telling you is when we tell you buy houses, Asa, I've been to his house. I was there for his housewarming. Brother got a big plot of land. We're talking about maybe having some feast days there. And all of them got nice houses. And what I'm saying is you may have to rent for a while. But if you are in a situation where you can live with your parents, live with your parents and put the money away. Now, if they're charging you rent and it's as much as you living somewhere, go get your freedom. But if they will let you stay there and put money away, do it and then buy your house. These
That's
brothers have done it. These children, you got a child, right, Mathanya?
yes, sir. Kind of one.
You got children, Makazawa. Asa has children, just had a newborn. It could be done. I have children. And like I said, I had my first child right out of high school, but it didn't stop me from doing any of that. It's the attitude that you take. I'm going to tell you something. When you start dealing with that child support office, you got that big fat black woman at that front desk. When you go in, she treats you like a criminal. Still treat her right. Don't worry about it. You cannot get caught up in the negative in your mind. You got to keep pushing forward. I'm gonna bring up a Edomite right quick. Donald Trump. This cracker going to court case after court case after court case, and you notice he's still running for president. A lot of times we quit before we receive our blessing. And when you decide you're going after something, you go after it and you don't quit. So if you're going after a house, you go get a house. You're going after a wife, you go get that wife. You want children, you tell her we're gonna have children. You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying that to branch off into this other part real quick. When you go out there and you put yourself in a situation where you got to pay child support, and then you want to get that extra income so you can take care of that. Guess what? Now you got to also balance being able to spend time with your family, with your children, and that's why you need a wife. See, when I would go pick up my older children, and then I go to work for a long time, my wife didn't work. Guess who took care of my children? She was more than happy to do it, and they love her to this day. And so when they come, my children I already had. Now we had three together, but I had two older. When we come together, we're all a family. They come to this house, and they laugh and talk with her more than me because I was more the disciplinarian.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? My daughter and her husband and children came down. The AC unit went out. We were all supposed to be going to the mall. I stayed home. They all left me at home. They out hanging out with my wife. You see what I'm saying? But that's the kind of relationship that you want. That's the type of woman you want. You want somebody who's going to step in there and be what you're lacking, because she shows compassion when I be going off. I had a discussion with my children not too long ago. They said, "Daddy, sometimes you go from 0 to 100." So then I had to break that thing down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But you need to be able to talk to your children. You need a wife that's going to help you out. You can't do this thing alone. But Matanya, I brought you in for a reason, because you and Asa are younger than Makazawa and I. And I want you to kind of talk about your trek and getting a house. You know what I'm saying? Did you know how to do that, or did somebody have to help you?
Right. Yeah. Great question. Great question. So, you really told my story. I graduated from college and then came home. All praise to the Most High for my parents, my stepdad. My mom allowed me to come home and stack my money. Um, and I have a good job, and it allowed me to build my credit, and things like that, so that I was able to, talk to a realtor and, be in the market to actually buy a house. So that's my story.
Right.
I don't agree with parents picking their children out at 18 and all of that. And we've had discussions on that throughout the series of the family discussions. But yeah, we should allow our children to come home. You know what I'm saying? And being able to stack their money or whatever so that they can buy a house. And that was my situation.
Right.
Uh, I was able to put down a down payment and things like that, and purchase a house probably in 2019.
Right. Right.
So, Salaki.
You got something to say there?
Yeah, I want to bring out one more thing while it was on my mind. Another. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
we got you clear.
Another key thing to help accomplish some of these things that brothers are talking about is multiple sources of income. I've always looked for multiple sources. I kind of learned that from my mom. She had multiple jobs, So I know multiple sources help. As I mentioned earlier, I went and got my HVAC certification. I also got my tent my tent rental business, and I'm also a federal employee.
Right.
So, I just wanted to mention that you want to multiple sources always help. Multiple sources of income.
Right. Hey, we have another brother that goes out with us. I had mentioned to him about this lesson, wanted him on, but this week I got busy, didn't follow up with him. But this brother was he's a truck driver, so he has a CDL, and I wanted him to talk to you about the process of getting a CDL. So I'll probably bring him on another date and give him about 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, and let him kind of talk about that. But that's another avenue that brothers can go. I mean, you don't have to go to college. It's not for everybody. It wasn't for me. I enjoyed the partying. And I enjoyed the partying. So I didn't go to class. You see what I'm saying?
Uh,
I'll get up and go to work, but I ain't going to class. I just didn't get no residual income from it. This thing down the road didn't matter to me. Now, when I'm getting a paycheck, I'm going to be there early. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't for me. I didn't have the guidance there. Whereas if I was at home, and I probably could have made it if I had to stay home with my parents, but I went off to school. And so I didn't have anybody telling me to get up and go. So if I didn't feel like going, I didn't go.
mhm.
Well, needless to say, at the end of that year, they talk about me coming back on probation. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to be there that year. You know what I'm saying? So it's not for everybody, but it didn't stop me from achieving a level of success in life because I had a work ethic that my parents had instilled in me, my grandparents had instilled in me, and I mention my grandparents a lot because I spent a lot of time with them, and I saw what they did. My grandfather I mentioned to you. My grandmother died years before him, but I mean, they stayed married. They had 5 boys, 1 girl, helped raise multiple grandchildren. The house was always open to any of us. And they always say, as long as I got a piece of bread, you got a piece of bread. But my days when I would stay with them was not me laying around playing video games. When that sun came up, we were out in the field working. We were picking berries. Now, when I'm talking about field, I'm not talking about a garden. My grandfather used to sell groceries to Piggly Wiggly. And for y'all who are not in the South, you don't know that's a grocery chain. So I'm talking about we farmed. I loved every bit of it. And really, I wanted to be a farmer, but I didn't know how to tell my parents that because they definitely didn't want me to be a farmer. You know what I'm saying? So one or two things I wanted to do. I love Muhammad Ali. I wanted to box or be a farmer. And my mom wasn't having the boxing part of it. And she had already told me she didn't want me farming, and they wanted me to go off to school. And like you, Mathanya, my dad wanted me to be a doctor.
Right.
But that was unrealistic because I didn't go to class in high school. I just played basketball and party. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a realistic goal for me. I didn't love school. I loved the people. Went to school, hung out with the girls and the boys and all that. But as far as classwork, that wasn't me. So if you know that about yourself, you ain't got no business going off somebody's school getting in debt.
Mhm.
Go ahead and start working. Brothers, got anything else?
Con. Yeah. Just to speak into the point, about me actually getting a own home. So very similar thing going on here. After I graduated school, I really didn't know what to do. Um, Prior to me graduating, I had these like thoughts of, yeah, I'm gonna end up getting this good paying job. I'm gonna move to a big city. I'm gonna live in a downtown loft, and I'm gonna party and do all this fun stuff, right? But that really what wasn't what it was for me. Like prior to me graduating school, my only means of transportation quit on me. My car broke down. So here I am with a college degree, and I'm having to borrow my mom's car and my sister car just to drive to go to job interviews. So I'm doing this for about 4 or 5 months, nothing. So I'm traveling city to city, state to state, taking all the interviews that I can, and nothing. So it came to around that following January. I graduated in the summer, so that following January came around, and I got me a job at a retail clothing store. I was making $10 per hour with a college degree. $10, nothing really. So through that course, I ended up getting another job through a temp service, and I was working two jobs then. Now my second job was on only paying me like 11 12 bucks. So I got these two part-time jobs, and it's not doing it. So I was very thankful to my folks for letting me come back home and everything, because I really couldn't have on made it with the money that I was getting, and I didn't have any means of transportation. And it took me to the fall of that following year to finally get me actual vehicle and everything. And I worked up through the ranks and got different jobs through that course. And it took me 7 years after graduating college to move from my mom's house. And I ended up moving to a apartment then, and I was there in a one bedroom room spot for about 2 years, and that's when I met my wife, and she had two kids prior, so it was me, her, and these two kids in this one bedroom spot. So clearly, space ain't there. So I knew that we needed more. So at first we were starting to think of, let's just get a 2 bedroom apartment just to get some more space. But as we started to think about it, we had started saying, why would we pay rent when we could just be paying towards some more mortgage to actually get us something that we would own. So we had contacted a realtor that had let us know about a FHA loan, and that pretty much gives you a little stipend, and it locks you in at a certain interest rate that can't be
Hey,
increased.
Salakia, King, Salakia.
Mhm.
You contacted who?
It
No, not a name.
was
What did you
a
just say?
realtor.
The process is contact somebody dealing with houses if you're gonna buy a house, right?
Exactly.
You don't sit around talk about I'm gonna buy and don't start looking. But go ahead, King. I just want to point that out before you went too far.
King, very important point. If you don't know much about anything that you're trying to do, find you somebody with the information and the not knowledge there that can help you. And we were blessed to find someone who had knew about houses, and was pretty much in it just to make a little more on money, but because she was already retired, she was set. She had money and everything, so it what wasn't a like thing where like she was just on trying to sell. She was just trying to help out folks that look like her. She was a so-called black woman. So mind you, prior to us even saying let's go get a house, I was only making a certain amount of money. But this is where having a a good wife comes in there, because mind you, my wife does not work, and that's due to her health on reasons and everything. But she has a lot of not knowledge when it comes to computers, computer science, resume building, so on, so forth. So she had tweaked my own resume for me to where I had ended up getting a brand new job doing the same work, making double doing the same exact job. And on my you, I'm a project estimator, so I pretty much create quotes for large construction companies, and I quote them on the duct line pipe and the fittings, and the type of work that I do takes a lot of skill and a lot of math. So if you are good at math and everything, it's a lucrative job if you know what you're doing. So having a good wife helped me be able to climb up ranks, and realize that the skills that I have was worth way more than what I made. So we had to end up looking at several houses. So we didn't just go with the first house that we had seen that had met some of our needs and our wants. We had viewed several homes, and you got to think that this is something that you are making a large commitment to, and if you were to never leave this home ever, you need to be comfortable being in this space. So so we had finally found us something we had liked, and we got a decent size on our plot too. So it's all praise to the most high. But because I didn't think that I was gonna have a house till I was about 35, 40 years old. But we had to end up getting it when I was 30, and I'm 31 now.
Con. And I want to take you back to something Makazawa said, and he was talking about how when he went into the military, when he got out, he was able to go to school. But there's another benefit to going in the military. You heard Asa say that he got an FHA loan. Well, if you go into the military, you get what's called a VA loan. With a VA loan, which is a veteran's loan, you do not have to put a down payment on a house, and you
Hmm.
qualify for a little bit more house than you would with other programs. So by going in there and doing 4 years, getting honorably discharged, you get out. You can just go find your house, and they'll come out and they'll inspect it, and then you move your family in and you make the monthly payments. But then you have to be willing to put up with some of the BS that the military is going to put you through, because it is BS. You got to be willing to move wherever they tell you to move. Okay. So, but that's not too hard for you for 4 years. And I'm telling you something, military hiring every day is much better than being under the bridge. I hear a lot of brothers say they not serving in Esau's military. Well, damn, you working at Esau's bank.
Hmm.
You
Fact.
work, you digging Esau's ditches, you cutting Esau's grass. Cornelius was in the Italian band, Acts chapter 10. Okay?
Hmm.
You do what you have to do. And that's not a bad living, because I'm gonna tell you something, when you get out of that military and you got that paperwork say honorably discharged, there are people who will hire you. You can go to banks, and let me tell you something about a bank. You go in there and you see people, they're tellers and stuff like that. You think that's the only job. No, they have a mail room, they have security. Just get your foot in the door, and then you can look around and see what other opportunities they have. Don't always just go down to your local grocery store, and that's a good place to start too. Walmart, grocery stores, Dollar General, filling out applications. I said that to say this: when you go fill out an application or you turn in a resume and you have that interview, if it's face to face, be dressed like you're somebody.
Hmm.
Show up early. If you got to be on site, have your car clean. Believe it or not, there are managers who will send somebody out to look at your car, inside and out, have it clean, because they want to see how you're going to keep that desk. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you go in to interview, there's two questions you have to be ready for. They're going to ask, why do you want to work for ABCD company? You need to have an answer for that.
Hmm.
Okay? So you prepare yourself for that. So my son just went on an interview with a company. He was a manager at a pizza place. He went on an interview with another company. So I was talking to him. We came back, and they asked him that very question, and he told me what he said, and I forgot, and I told him that was a good answer. Then they're going to ask you, say, tell me about a situation where you had to deal with someone difficult, and how did you handle it? You can't be hee hawing and You're not the only person interviewing for that job. You have to have those answers ready. Okay? Rewind this part, write those two questions down, and any interview you go on, be prepared to answer those two questions. Everything else, they're just sitting around asking you, oh, what did you do in life? Where did you go to school? Where did you live? Those are the two questions that's going to get you in or not get you in, okay? Because if they call you in for an interview, they're not wasting time. They're looking at you. Now presentation matters. And you have to realize something. You're going to Esau's job. You may not be able to dress and look culturally like we look. You know what I'm saying? For your interview process, you put on their suit, their necktie. You hide your fringes. You put on a t-shirt with your fringes on, you tuck them in. Now, if you get on the job, you do what you want to do, as long as it's not going to get you fired. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't want to hire Hebrew Israelite because they don't like you. They don't like you because you're black. And you take your Hebrew Israelite looking stuff up in there, you ain't getting in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to be practical in this thing. Nicodemus went to Christ in the middle of the night. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
You got to use you got to be prudent. You got it says prudence dwells with wisdom. Prudence
That's
is
right.
just being practical. Okay? So be prepared with those two questions that have an answer. Let's say you listen to this, you're 16 years old, you applied at McDonald's because McDonald's hires a lot of our people. And I'm going to help you out with the first question. McDonald's asks you, why do you want to work here? There's nothing wrong with saying, I've gone from McDonald's to McDonald's. And I've seen a lot of black people use that term, African Americans working there. And I like that McDonald's reaches out to my community, and I want to be a part of a company like that. There's nothing wrong with saying that, but have an answer. Don't be in there, I don't know. And then everything they ask you, and you're grunting. No, you speak the Queen's English when you go in there. Then you get back with your boys, you talk how y'all talk.
Right.
I had a college professor that told me one time, he said, you need to have three different languages. You need to have a phone language, you need to have a business language, and then you got to have your language that you when you with your people. He said that doesn't make you be phony. That makes you be real and knowing you got to operate in this world.
Right.
And this was a white guy who told me that.
Got
And
it.
so I took that and I used that from that point forward. So learn from people when they talk to you, okay? Here I am at that time, I'm working as a computer programmer. And during that time, everybody wore white shirts. They wore khaki pants. They had the IBM look. Well, I didn't want to do that. I was colorful. You know what I'm saying? But after talking to him, and I realized a year later he pulled me to the side for a reason. You know what I'm saying? After a year, I changed that and say, you know what? I want to make more money in this corporation. That's what I'm here for. So I threw on some khaki pants and white shirt. I threw on a necktie. That didn't change who I was. That was my uniform. Just like if you're in the military, you can want to wear a uniform. Huh?
Well, hey, they call that being bilingual.
Bilingual.
You gotta know how to switch it up. You know, you
That's
can't,
right. That's right.
you can't go to these white folks jobs with that nigga talk.
That's right.
Yep.
You know, you got to know how to transition into the
Mm-hmm.
to you know what I'm saying. Let me get a scripture real quick. Matthew 10:16. You know, Christ
While you're
taught.
getting there, let me say this real quick, King. While
Uh,
you're getting there, my dad spent 27 years in the military, retired sergeant major, and when he was a drill sergeant, he used to take me with him, and he had a language for them privates. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But then I used to see him talk to other folks, and it was yes sir. But at the same time, when he didn't have that uniform on, he was away. He didn't call him sir. You know what I'm saying? My grandparents came up with that in that age where they call all white people sir. And he used to get on to my granddad. You don't call him sir. You older than him. You see what I'm saying? Before his job, he did something, a certain thing. But away from his job, he wasn't that person. And so I just want to get back to your bilingual statement. Go ahead, King.
Yeah, you got to know how to turn it off and on. You
That's
got to
right.
That's right.
turn it off and on, man. Again, Christ taught this same concept. Let me, if somebody could, let me get that in Matthew 10 and 16.
I'm getting there. Uh, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
You got to use wisdom in this society, man.
That's right.
These are wolves that we're dealing with. They control everything that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to mix and mingle. You can't be going over with this radical Israelite stuff.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't even talk about this at your job. It's nothing to talk about.
Right.
Right.
I'm here for work. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
here to talk about us being Israelites. I
That's
don't
right.
want to talk about it, and I'm not going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? That way they can't build a case against you and have a reason to let you go. Nah, I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
We don't
Right.
have nothing to talk about here unless it's work. I don't
Right.
even talk to anybody at my job anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm here for work only.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I know how to turn it off and on as far as whatever it is we need to talk about.
Right.
So that's called using wisdom. Christ said, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves.
That's
These
right.
are wolves that we're dealing with. Be ye therefore wise as serpent and harmless as doves. You gotta,
That's
you
right.
gotta, you gotta be wise, right? But I yield with that. I don't know.
Con. So back to that VA loan. So I got out the military, met my wife, and at the time she had her own apartment. She was a assistant vice president at a bank. I'm working at a plant. You see the difference there? But I moved up, and eventually I went into that same bank. But what I was able to provide because I had gone into the military, she was renting a place. We bought a place. We got married, bought us a place. Now I'm probably a year and a half out of the military, and that was our first house. Nice house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, fenced backyard, and then we started having children. And so going in the military can put you into a position where you can be the head of your house, and you don't have to rely on your wife for everything. That's where you're trying to get, because we're not in a situation where when we leave home, our parents are in a position where they can give us homes and stuff like that. You're trying to get into that position for your children, but what you can do is make sure you have a home your children can come to and be able to stack that money. And
Hmm.
then you can give them good financial advice. So learn from us as we talk to you. What you hear, add on to it, but add with scripture. There's always going to be a process for you to buy a house, or God wouldn't have said, when Babylon built houses. So you just need to know how to go about doing it. Number one is Esau is going to have a place of some kind of process in which he can make money off of you. It's just paper. Spend the money, buy your house. Because if you don't, you're going to rent. And I'm going to tell you, I went to a seminar one time. This was the guy that was speaking. He was the largest real estate owner in America. And so we were looking into getting into rental properties as far as investors, and we've done that since then. And one thing he said was, as a owner of real estate, your tenants expect you to go up on rent every year. He said, don't disappoint them. And then the whole room burst out laughing. You see what I'm saying? When you get a mortgage, I say that now. I be talking about wife, and I say, hey, it's December. Next month, rent go up. Can't disappoint my tenants. But it's just a joke that we have. But what I'm saying is, if you get a mortgage, you lock in, and nobody's going up on you. You go in, you get that mortgage. Yeah, you look at the price. You say, "Wow, I got to pay this for the rest of my life." You're gonna rent for the rest of your life, and it's gonna keep going up.
Right.
What you
Yeah.
want to do is lock it in. That's the purpose of buying. It used to be you got a tax break for owning a house. You don't get that anymore. They changed that 4 years ago. So what the advantage you have is you have a place you can call home, and you know that it's not going to go up. So you can budget for that every month for the rest of your life. Okay. We got anything else before we get out of here? We hit an hour.
One more thing, just to throw in,
Hmm.
the the FHA loan, that doesn't require any down payment either.
So did you go through a first time home buyer program?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why he didn't have to pay a down payment. If you go out there and it's not your first time buying, and then you get a FHA, there's a down payment. And so what you want to do, Smooth, I mean Asa, you still there?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Um, did your rib or did you know to go look at that program? How did
Uh,
you find out about that?
Actually, our realtor brought that up to us.
Bingo. That's what I want you to get. If you're going to look for a house, a realtor is going to get a fee for you buying a house. So they want you to buy. So you get in touch with a realtor, and the realtor will put you in touch with programs to help you. What they're going to do is they're going to put you in touch with a lender. A lender is going to look at your credit because they want to know, does this person pay back when they say that they're going to pay? They're going to look at your income. And so they're going to, based on that, tell you how much of a house you can afford to buy. There are programs out there that will help you, especially if you're a first time home buyer, and they will basically they will guarantee the what is the down payment. So they're going to take care of all that for you. If you go out there on your own, you're going to have a minimum of 20% put down on the house. So let's just use a round number. Let's say the house is $100,000. What's 20% of that? Mathematicians. I
Is
think that's
it's
go ahead.
um 20 bands?
20, yeah, 20K. Now you don't have that. You just getting started in life. You see what I'm saying? But you go through a realtor, and then the lending company will walk you through everything you need to do because they're going to make money off you. They charge interest on your loan. Remember, we
Yep.
walked through all that the first and second week? So they want to loan you money. Don't believe they don't want to. What you want to do is go to a realtor, and a realtor is going to make sure all that happens for you. If you got bad credit, they tell you we can't lend to you. They're going to tell you what you need to do to clean up your credit. You see what I'm saying? They want to lend money. That's how they make money. So go talk to people. We good on that?
Uh,
All right, all right. Hey, Shalom Israel. One of you brothers want to take us out?
Go ahead, Makaza. You had something?
Yeah, I was gonna say we got maybe somebody could throw the email in the chat that way if a brother or sister got a question, they can reach out to us. If they need some help or some assistance with any or got any question about anything that we brought up today.
Good point, King. Good point.
Yeah, it is.
And can we put our Facebook up there also?
uh,
We're Iron Horn of Zion. Reach out to our Facebook page and friend us, follow us, and we want to know how y'all are doing. Keep in touch with us. Definitely, if you have questions, reach out. Reach out through that email. Anything else, Kings? All right, all right. One of you brothers take us out if you would.
we want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Shem
By Shem,
HaMashiach
Mashiach,
Yahweh.
Yahweh Shah.
Hey, Shalom, family.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.